With our most recent success against the Advent Authority, we were finally ready to begin researching the captured warp gate. Or, so I thought. I guess I should have realized that things could never go that smoothly. Geist had finally gotten wind of our new prize. For someone who claimed to be psychic and loved giving long-winded, unsolicited lectures, you'd think he would have been the first to contact us about the warp gate, not the last. Long story short, he wanted us to destroy the gate, and I cheerfully ignored his request. The more serious issue was that Tygan was acting flighty again. I guess I should have seen it coming, but he just couldn't focus with the Archon King's corpse just sitting there in our cold storage. It soon became clear that he wasn't going to be able to concentrate on the portal until I indulged him, so I went ahead and ordered the lab techs to bring the cybernetic monstrosity up to Tygan's lab so he could do his thing. The spokesman contacted me soon afterwards, with the monthly report I had been expecting. I know it sounds silly, but looking at the report, I couldn't help feeling a little sorry for Advent. It really did feel like the conflict was becoming a little one-sided. Our spies were reporting that Advent was still desperately trying to rebuild the Avatar project, while they essentially ignored us. They were still trying to deploy more signal jammers to disrupt our scans, and Blightwalker was apparently trying to train the Advent peacekeepers to make use of his patented brand of ineffectual ambush tactics. It was going to take Tygan several days to finish analyzing the Archon King, so I just puttered around the Avenger, finding ways to keep myself busy. I visited Deus down in the Psi Lab a couple of times and periodically checked in with our covert ops teams whenever they had something new to report. Given our recent successes against Advent and our possession of the Warp Gate, our allies were practically tripping over each other as they tried to win our favor. They were offering us bribes and tribute left and right, so I sent Morgan and Varnas out to start collecting their offerings as quickly as possible. The next few days crawled by, until Tygan finally got tired of playing with his new toy. Eager to prove that the project had all been worthwhile, he presented me with a new prototype he had developed, something he was calling the Icarus armor. I'll admit it did look pretty useful, so I promised him that we'd field test it during our next operation. I was eager to get Tygan focused back on the Warp Gate project, and he promised to get to work right away. But the next time I stopped by his lab, I found him hacking up an Advent gatekeeper. He insisted that it was directly related to his research on the portal. After all, the gatekeeper had come out of the Warp Gate, right? It was obvious that it was a ham-fisted effort to manipulate me, but I really didn't see any benefit on calling him out. I just sighed and let him get back to work on his latest pet project, but only after he had once again promised me that when he was done with the gatekeeper, he would get back to researching the Warp Gate itself. Honestly, Tygan's behavior was getting a bit too obnoxious these days, and the rest of the science staff had gotten into the bad habit of enabling that behavior a bit too much. It was time to bring in some new blood. I contacted the spokesman and asked him about potential new recruits for our science team, and he quickly offered up the location of a potential recruit who just happened to be in Advent custody. It certainly wouldn't be the first time we had run a high-stakes rescue mission, so I quickly accepted the mission and began assembling an appropriate rescue team. Mark and Don were still recovering from their last mission, so this time I decided to let Mox head up the squad. He hadn't gotten much time in the field lately, and that was making him a little more murdery than usual. Our scans showed that Advent had heavily armored escorts on site, so Mox picked Kuruk and the Bear to handle the armored units. He also picked out Green Guard and Firebolt to secure and extract the Advent prisoner. Mox wanted to bring Karn along for long-range support, but I was a little worried that Karn wouldn't be able to differentiate between the Advent peacekeepers and the prisoner we were trying to rescue, so I rejected Mox's request and sent Messer along instead. Overall, it was a pretty solid team, and from the sound of things, Advent only had 3 peacekeeper squads in the area. The alien rulers were all dead, and this wasn't even close to Blightwalker's territory, so I wasn't anticipating any complications. We'd get in, grab our new science recruit, and get back out, and then we'd hopefully be able to finally get our Warp Gate project back on track.
The Resistance is asking for our help in rescuing a VIP currently being held by Advent in this region. We're moving in to neutralize any alien forces protecting the transport vehicle. Lock down the AO and secure the target package. This 1-5, we have a confirmed location for the VIP. Move to rendezvous. Eliminate all hostile contacts.
We must stay quiet as one.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 35. Today it looks like we're on another special council mission, only instead of trying to capture an Advent VIP, this time we're here to rescue a prisoner. Really, it's two very similar mission types with just a few key differences, but for the most part we can use the same exact strategies that we used last time. Since they started us right on top of an elevated perch, we're just going to cut across the rooftop and get to the railing on the other side. That should give us a clear line of sight to any Advent escorts that are positioned around the prisoner van. And with the height advantage, we should be able to take them out pretty efficiently. And there's our first Advent pod. It looks like 2 mutons and a codex. Well, from the mission briefing, we know that there are only 3 Advent pods on the map, and apparently one of them is right below us. We could start dropping people down there to ambush them, but there's no telling where they'd go once they scattered. So I think it's a better bet to move Kurik into cover and drop a blaster bomb down there. As we've pretty clearly seen in the past, you don't need line of sight to target a blaster bomb. Now I'm pretty sure that they're positioned right next to this stairwell, so let's give it a shot.
Homing in!
Okay, I think we only hit 2 of them. No, we definitely got all 3 of them. Alright, that entire pod is pretty close to death, so we shouldn't have any trouble finishing them off. Oh, but there's a scanning tower over there, so let's check that out real quick.
Accessing system.
Oh, guaranteed chance to take over an enemy unit. Well, that's... okay, yeah, that's pretty great. I'll definitely come back to that in a moment. We do want to take over a random enemy unit, we just don't want it to be one of these guys we're about to kill. I'm also pretty sure that Messer can take out all 3 of these guys in a single turn, so let's get him down there real quick. Okay, now we... okay, that Muton just panicked because Messer's wearing the Berserker suit. That happens so rarely, I forgot it was even a possibility. Not that it really ended up helping us anyway. Let's go ahead and take out that first Muton with lightning hands. And now let's finish off that Codex with a quick Rage Strike. We just need to make sure we end up behind cover. And now we can finish off this other Muton with Shadowfall. There we go. That takes care of the first enemy pod, and Roderick is back in stealth. And now we'll go ahead and take control of a random enemy. If we're lucky, this will end up revealing the location of both remaining enemy pods.
We're in.
There's our second enemy pod. Looks like a shield bearer, a purifier, and a mech. But we can also clearly hear a sectopod out there. Let's start carefully moving the rest of our squad up towards the edge of the roof, but we'll be careful to keep them back far enough to avoid triggering that pod.
Moving.
Moving to position. I'm on it.
There's that sectopod again. It sounds like it's tap dancing all over the place.
I will watch.
On Overwatch.
Moving to Overwatch.
There we go. Now we've got both enemy pods in sight. Oh, and I guess they just realized that their shield bearer has been compromised. And it looks like we're up, so let's see how many of these guys we can take out in a single turn. We should probably be able to take out most of these guys before the end of the turn. Except for possibly those two guys all the way in the back. They might actually be too far away. All of the closer targets have armor, so we should probably start by hitting them with explosives. I'm just worried we might accidentally blow up the truck. We've already failed one mission because of unexpected collateral damage, so I'd really rather avoid letting that happen again. Unfortunately, it looks like I just activated the shield bearer's pod, and now the mech is on Overwatch, so that does complicate things a little. We have a few ways to avoid potential Overwatch fire, but I think this is a good chance to try out the Icarus jump jets. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, that's not where I wanted him, but I guess I can work with it. Well, I wanted to bring Green Guard down in cover so he could shoot the mech and knock it off Overwatch, but now I have to prioritize using his second action to get him under proper cover. Fortunately, we do still have two operatives who are under stealth, so let's bring Fireball up to the edge of the rooftop here. And she can tag the mech for us. Okay, now that we've got the mech taken care of, let's get Green Guard under cover. It would be nice to neutralize the sectopod with Haywire, but instead we'll end his turn by hitting that Purifier with a Skulljack. I don't think this can cause the Purifier to explode, but I guess we're about to find out.
Moving to access.
Hey, not only did he not explode, but we also got some bonus intel.
Good to go.
Now we should really focus on taking down that mech. Otherwise, it's likely to hit us with a bunch of micro missiles, and that will cause our guys to take extra falling damage.
What's over there?
Unfortunately, it looks like Koruk is too far away to hit these guys with an acid grenade, so we'll just have him trim off some of the sectopod's armor. Now let's bring the bear up.
Armor still holding.
He'll be a little closer, so maybe he can lob a grenade over the truck. Nope, still too far. Let's just hit the sectopod again. That takes off the rest of the sectopod's armor, but we really do need to focus on taking down that mech. I'd like to trim off some of its armor, but at this point I think we're just going to have to try to take it down with some not-so-friendly fire. Yeah, that armor's way too tough. But we don't really have much in the way of options here, so let's hit it again. Oh, okay, we actually hit it with a critical that time. We might actually be able to drop this thing with one more shot. Unfortunately, there's no way that we'll be able to take the sectopod down this turn, but fortunately we came prepared for that. Let's move Mox up to the edge of the roof and let's hit it with a whiplash.
Fear the lash.
Nice, that deals out another 12 damage. We might actually be able to finish it off. Let's see if we can bring Messer up close enough to get line of sight. No luck there, but let's move him up anyway. He might be able to hit something with his plasma blaster. That should theoretically hit the mech without damaging the truck, so let's give it a shot. Whoa, okay, that,
The VIP is en route to extraction.
-15 status confirmed. VIP is in tow. Proceed to the extraction point.
Huh. That actually kind of worked out. Let's go ahead and immediately pull that scientist back to a safer location. At this point, everyone's gone except for Mox, and he can only make one more attack before the turn ends. It doesn't look like he can finish off the sectopod in a single shot, but if we get lucky, he might end up landing a crit. I don't really see any other options, so take the shot. Close, but not quite. Let's just hope that thing decides to go after our decoy. Oh, wow. Okay, that just took off 2/3 of Green Guard's health. Now it's charging up its Wrath Cannon, but it won't live long enough to actually fire it. We've also still got these other guys to deal with, and now we have reinforcements to deal with as well.
We're picking up an enemy transport inbound on your current position.
Okay. I could hit the sectopod with Haywire, but that's pretty pointless now. I can also still hack the blown-up truck, which is weird, but I'm sure we can find something more practical to do with our actions. In fact, let's just have Green Guard heal himself. And now let's go ahead and finish off that sectopod. Messer might actually be able to do that with his pistol, though it would be a lot safer to just hit it with his rifle. But if he can take it out with his pistol, then he'll still be able to go on Overwatch. Yeah, let's go for it. Well, that didn't get the job done, so we'll just take another shot. Now I think we'll start pushing up aggressively to take out the rest of this pod. If we have any attacks left over afterwards, then we'll just use those to set up an ambush. First, let's take out that cover. And now let's hit that guy with another grenade. Oh wait, we're actually about to lose control of our shield bearer, so let's push him up to where he'll be in the blast radius too. And now let's hit these guys with a grenade. Oh, I can actually hit all three of them. That's a nice bonus.
Fire in the hole!
Alright, that took off a bunch of armor, but we're gonna have to hit these guys again.
Fire in the hole!
They're still standing, but just barely. I should definitely be able to drop them before the end of the turn. Yeah. It looks like Mach should actually be able to drop 2 of them on his own. That's 1.
Their casualties grow.
Let me just make sure that no one else is in a better position to do this. I would still like to set up for the reinforcements if I can. Okay, we'll just have Mox take another shot. That's 2.
For the free. Ammunition nearly gone.
And that's 3. Oh, and hair trigger just went off.
Terminated.
Alright, let's set up an ambush. We do have some loot out in the middle of the street, so I'm tempted to start pushing some of our guys up there. But I guess we should probably hold back until we've taken care of these reinforcements.
Scanning.
Come get some.
Oh, right, let's move the scientist up to a safer position. I don't think there are any more Advent pods on the field, but I guess we shouldn't take any unnecessary chances. Looks like a mech, a priest, and another shield bearer. Let's see if we take any of them out.
Advent approaches.
There goes the priest.
X-ray neutralized.
And the mech just went on Overwatch. Okay, let's start by dinging the mech so it loses Overwatch. There we go.
Panzerung getroffen.
Now let's keep pushing the scientist towards the evac zone. In fact, let's just go ahead and start pushing everyone up towards the evac zone. We should be able to gun down the shield bearer and the mech on the way there. We'll just move everyone out into the street as far as they can go, and then they'll all use their second actions to take out the rest of the enemies.
Heading out. Moving to position.
Now let's start chipping away at these guys. That takes out the mech's armor. And that takes out the shield bearer's armor. That takes out the mech.
Kein Problem, Boss.
And that takes out the shield bearer.
Must have ammunition.
There shouldn't be any more enemies at this point, so all we have to do now is grab that loot and get to the Sky Ranger. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, looks like a stock, an autoloader, and a focus implant. Nothing great, but I'm sure we'll find some use for it. At this point, I think it's literally just us walking from one place to another, so let's just skip to the end here.
Binder mal weg.
Hey, look at that. We win.
Status confirmed. Mission accomplished. I would like to assure the citizens of Advent that our peacekeepers will stop at nothing to prevent further attacks by criminal elements such as the one that occurred today. The Elders have total faith in our ability to overcome any and all threats to our peace.
Our friend from the Resistance is becoming one of our most trusted veterans. It's a testament to our cause.
Well, I was hoping for more promotions, but I guess one's better than none. Let's go ahead and give Green Guard threat assessment. And now we can get back to the story. Good work, everyone. There had been one or two close calls, and Green Guard would need to spend a week in our accelerated healing chamber, but overall, Operation Severed Glove had been a rousing success. We had managed to rescue another scientist from Advent's clutches, and as I had suspected, she was quick to accept our offer of employment. Not like she had any alternatives, anyway. Even better, our operatives had walked away with an unexpected bonus. At some point during the operation, they had picked up a bit of enemy chatter pointing towards a potentially vulnerable Advent supply convoy, and we quickly moved to begin putting together an ambush. It would be a few days before the convoy passed our way, and during that time, Blightwalker took advantage of our distraction to begin hunting and killing our ground contacts in Asia. Once again, he had clearly laid out bait, and we had ended up right where he wanted us. Only this time it was someone else who was paying the price. The last thing we needed was another distraction. I really didn't want anything disrupting our efforts to research and potentially reverse engineer Advent's warp gate technology. But, given his recent actions, Blightwalker was making one thing abundantly clear. It was time to start taking him a lot more seriously.